This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast
with Tony Bruschi.
Susan Constantine with us. It's the conversation that doesn't end, but it's so compelling having you on. Susan, I really appreciate you joining us again, because I want to finish how we were talking about yesterday of what you believe is a increase in sociopathic behavior in our society, which I could not agree with more, and how to identify some of those traits and signs before someone acts out and does something absolutely horrible. And that's the point that I think we get stuck at so often is you can identify these people unless they've already committed some sort of heinous crime or some sort of crime that we can then go, oh, look, we can connect you to this. But if they're still in the planning stages, if they're still in the, I haven't quite done my crime yet, but I have all the signs of I am someone who is very, very likely to act out in some way, shape, or form. And I think, we've all seen these people and then go, well, I'm not surprised that happened. What can be done about those individuals if a crime has not yet been committed, but the signs are there?
Well, the thing is they have to realize is that there's nothing that they can personally do, but they have to protect themselves and to rid themselves away from people like that, or to complain to somebody that's at work, saying there's something really unusual. He said some very unusual things that they're at work. They need to document this stuff because keep in mind, it revs up. Mm-hmm. It doesn't, it's not a one and done. It's usually multiple indicators that are leading to and starts to exacerbate before the actual bang. We call it the bang, mm-hmm. right? That's right when the thing happens. What my job is to teach people before the bang.
Yeah.
Right? What are all of those indicators? And that is language. What is the language they're using? What is their things that are changing at home? Are they dressing different? Are they dressing more radical? Has there been a change in their dress? What about have they become more isolated? What are they reading? What are they watching? What is the language? What are they talking about? What are they blogging? What groups are they belonging to? So all these are indicators that there's something that is going on. And I think that what would help parents and others out there is to say, pay attention, get into the computers, look at seeing what they're looking at. Look to see what they're, I'm talking about kids now, or even adults. What are they watching? Yeah. Where are they spending their time? What are they reading? What groups are they belonging to? What are they blogging? How has their baseline changed? What in their life has changed their baseline? So those are all precursors to that something is definitely happening. And what does that mean? Maybe it's a family intervention. Maybe it's they need to go and be encouraged to go to a mental health counselor. If it's in school, it needs to be reported. And because the whole point we want to do is we want to stop it before it actually occurs, mm-hmm. not to explain it away and just document it and put it into a file. The schools need to respond ASAP. Mm-hmm. And there has to be a ranking system. Like, I think that they're like, what is considered being high threat. Yeah. And if there's high threat is anytime a person says, I'm going to kill somebody, or or they have fantasies of blowing people away, or if it's a joke, they're carrying a knife, or, whatever, that stuff has to be reported. And also the teachers then have to, or the principals or companies or family members that see this must report it. Yeah. Because you have to report it so you can have some sort of documentation so they can take action. But the problem is that I can only do what I can do. But, once it leaves my hands and I teach them and train them, mm-hmm. it's up to the schools to decide what that protocol is going to be, sure. or a company or the church, So, my husband and I both are on a security team at our church. So we have eyes and ears all the time. I mean, one time I was there and there was a guy that was wandering around and scouting around by the children's church, mm-hmm. children's area. I'm thinking that was really strange. So I'm thinking, okay, he's spotting. Why is he there? He kind of was pacing around. It was right in the area where the children entrance into the children's church, children's Sunday school is. Mm-hmm. So I found out what his name was, and I quickly did a background on him immediately. I said, this guy has got a rap sheet of all kinds of sexual deviance.
Oh, gosh.
I said, we got a sexual predator in our church. Act. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Act. So that's what we do. Like even at my church, and we have a very big church I go to, we're really huge on security.
Yeah.
Because where do people go?
Yeah.
They go to the church when they're, it's filled with people with problems.
Yes.
That's why they go there, right?
And people who are ready to believe that people they're in a good, safe place. Unfortunately, it's not always as safe as they want it to be.
And they always, these kind of people, think about the Jerry Sandusky's of the world, right? And we see this over and over again. And even in one of my training programs, I have a priest who worked for the Catholic Church. He was for 28 years. He was a whistleblower on sexual pedophilia that was going on. And then he explained to me all about how they moved the priest around and everything else. And things were like put up underneath the rug. Yeah. It's crazy the stuff that is happening out there. But there are indicators of these, even when it's kind of off the topic of these predators, sexual predators, or just predators of, traffickers, etc. They're, catfishers. There's predatorial, they have predatorial tendencies. And so they're placing themselves in those places of trust. Mm-hmm. So the one thing that I want your viewers to know is anybody that rapidly gets into your life out of nowhere, shows up and is really helpful. And they are great rapport builders, they're great manipulators, they're great massagers, into your life. And then but it's rapid. They usually go into it very rapidly, and then they try to build rapport very rapidly, and then the weirdness starts. Mm-hmm. And I had this just recently with my husband's. My ex-wife got a guy that was a former well-known basketball player, shows up, was an old neighbor, shows up out of nowhere, and she's disabled. And I thought, well, what does a guy like that, spending all this time with this vulnerable person, and because she's got a MS. Mm-hmm. So he comes across as being very helpful. Let me mow your grass before. Now he's spending the night. Now he's doing all this. Well, the bottom line is she happens to be quite well off and he's lost all of his money. So I did a background on him. Mm-hmm. Boom. All kinds of stuff. Was kicked out of the school he was at. He was teaching some of the kids basketball techniques. He had all kinds of complaints against him for sexual deviation, showing himself. So I had my husband reach out to her and said, listen, you are in face-to-face with a predator. Yeah. It's going to try to take you, because they go after the vulnerable people, the weak people, the people that they build trust with. So I could go on and on with this, but a lot of the stuff is going to be coming out in my book. Well, it won't be out for about another year yet, because we're still writing it. Mm-hmm. I've got writers and stuff. And, but hopefully I'll be able to help people to make better choices with people in their lives. But, can't solve all the problems, but I can certainly help some people.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
The Hidden Killers Podcast.
With Tony Bruschi.
Susan Constantine joining us. Thank you so much for that conversation. She's a trial consultant and body language expert, president of the Human Behavior Academy, website susanconstantine.com. If you like the podcast, be sure to press subscribe wherever you download podcasts. You don't miss any breaking updates and discussions on the cases that we are following for you right here. You can get an ad-free version of the podcast. You subscribe through Apple Podcasts, so do check that out. My name is Tony Bruschi. Stay with us.